You're not weak. You just haven't declared strength. This morning there is a silent, almost invisible moment that happens every day. He doesn't appear on the clock. It makes no noise, but it sets the tone for everything. It's the moment you open your eyes. Before the messages, before the news, before worries find words, before exhaustion even had a chance to explain itself, that's where the battle begins. The word says, "In the morning, Lord, you hear my voice. In the morning I present my prayer to you and wait expectantly." This reveals something profound. The morning listens to whoever speaks first. Father, today I stand before you in this exact place, not at the peak of their strength, not at the peak of courage, but in this raw, real moment, without spiritual makeup, where the body still feels heavy and the mind tries to convince the soul that it is weak. Today, I reject that lie. Because your word doesn't say that strength comes after the day gets better. She says that your mercies are renewed every morning, not at noon, not after everything is resolved, but now. I acknowledge, Lord, many times I haven't woken up weak. I've woken up in spiritual silence. I did not declare it. I didn't line up. I did not govern. And when I don't speak, other voices do. Anxiety speaks. Fear speaks. Memories speak. The pressures of the day speak for themselves. Today, that changes. Today, before any thought finishes the sentence, I raise my voice before you, not to explain what I feel, but to declare who you are. You are my strength even when I don't yet feel it. You are my sustenance when my body has not yet responded. You are my clarity when my mind awakens in confusion. Your word says that the Lord gives strength to the weary and increases the strength of those who have none. This means that tiredness is not an impediment. It's an access point. Father, I don't run away from my humanity. I don't deny the weight of the previous days. But I refuse to begin this day by agreeing with weakness. Today, I declare, my soul is not empty. My source hasn't dried up. My story hasn't lost its way. Even though the body awakens slowly, the spirit is awake. Even if the mood tries to delay it, the truth has already been revealed. As the psalmist says, "O God, you are my God. Earnestly I seek you." Not when there's spare time, not when everything is organized, but now. Father, I seek you before I seek myself. I consult you before reacting. I put you first before trying to control. Today I understand. It's not that I'm weak, it's that I haven't yet declared my strength, and strength responds to voice, not emotion. Therefore I declare in spirit and in truth, this day will not rule me. I will not be pushed around by circumstances. I will not be guided by what I feel, but by what I believe. If sadness tries to become a constant companion, I remind you that weeping may last for a night, but joy comes in the morning. If fear tries to anticipate events, I remember that the Lord is my light and my salvation, and of whom shall I be afraid? If discouragement tries to masquerade as realism, I remind you that hope never disappoints. Today I choose to watch and pray. Today I choose to align my thoughts before aligning my tasks. Today I choose to speak out before reacting. Father, guard my mouth at the start of this day. May I not use words to agree with the chaos. May I not prophesy weariness upon myself. May I not normalize what heaven has already called me to overcome. May my first confession be true. Let my first thought be alignment. Let my first decision be one of trust. Just as the manna fell in the morning, today I receive sustenance from above, not for accumulating, but for walking. I don't need to understand everything right now. I don't need to feel everything right now. I just need to position myself. And today I take a stand. Faced with doubt, I declare conviction. In the face of weakness, I declare strength. In the face of silence, I declare that God continues to speak. May this day recognize those who govern. May my mind submit to the truth. May my heart find rest in your faithfulness. I don't start this day running. I begin this day by declaring, Amen. There is a silent pattern in the scriptures that many ignore. God never asks if someone feels strong. He asks if anyone is willing to trust him. Joshua was not facing a simple mission. He carried the weight of succeeding a leader who had spoken with God face to face. The Jordan River was still ahead. The walls were still standing. The enemies were even bigger and more experienced. And yet, God did not say, "Wait until you feel ready." He said, "Be strong and courageous," not as a suggestion, as commanded. Father, Today I understand that the strength you command does not come from favorable circumstances, but from the spoken word. Joshua did not receive a complete map. He received a direction and an order, and by obeying, strength manifested itself along the way. The same was true of David. Before facing Goliath, he did not declare his size, he declared his origin. You come against me with sword and spear, but I come against you in the name of the Lord. He did not deny the reality of the enemy, but he also didn't allow her to determine the outcome. Dad, how many times have I tried to measure my days by the size of the challenges? How many times have I woken up calculating losses, risks, possible failures? And I forgot to declare in whom I stand. David teaches us that strength lies not in physical strength, but in conviction. It's not about accumulated experience, but about recognized alliances. Today, I learn from him. I am not starting this day impressed by what threatens me. I begin by remembering who sustains me. And Jesus could have begun his days surrounded by crowds, but he chose silence. The word says that very early in the morning he would get up and go to a solitary place to pray. This reveals something profound. Even the sun understood that the day needed to be planned before it could be faced. Father, if Jesus did not neglect what is secret, I cannot neglect it either. If he sought strength in his presence before touching the multitudes, I too need to seek it before touching my responsibilities. The strength that sustains the day does not come from applause, but from the invisible altar. And Elijah confronted prophets, fire descended from heaven, and public victories followed. But then he sat down, tired, exhausted, wanting to give up. And the Lord did not accuse him. He didn't expose it. He didn't rule it out. The Lord fed him. He made him rest. And then he repositioned it. Dad, this teaches me that feeling tired is not a sign of failure. Failure would be remaining in it without seeking your voice. Today I understand. Even the strongest can get tired, but they are not abandoned in exhaustion. You are the God who strengthens before the next stage. You are the God who renews before demanding movement. Therefore, I reject the idea that I need to be whole in order to obey. I obey, and I am restored on the path. Father, I bring to mind all these examples not to admire them from afar, but to align myself with the same principle. Just as Joshua advanced without feeling completely secure, I advance. Just as David declared before his victory, so I declare. Just as Jesus sought before acting, I seek. Just as Elijah was restored before he could continue, I receive restoration. Today I don't wait for strength to arrive before I start walking. I walk trusting that strength will manifest itself in obedience. I don't wait for courage to take hold before making a decision. I decide, and courage rises with me. Father, keep my heart from comparing my journey with that of others. Each one had their own process, but they all had something in common. They obeyed before they felt ready. Today I choose the same path. If there are difficult decisions to make, I don't back down. If there is silence, I don't interpret it as absence. If there is resistance, I will not accept defeat. I declare, the strength that comes from the Lord does not fail along the way. It renews itself as it progresses. She reveals herself according to how much I trust her. May this day not be governed by fear of what has not yet happened. May he be guided by the faithfulness of a God who has never failed. I don't walk alone. I cannot sustain this day on my own. I cannot carry this weight without help. The Lord is the one who girds me with strength. The Lord is the one who makes my way perfect. And today I continue. Amen. Before we continue, I want you to stop for a few seconds. Don't move forward yet. There is a specific reason why you have arrived here in this prayer. God doesn't restore strength in a general way. He touches specific areas. So I ask you, honestly and without haste, what area of your life needs restoration today? Perhaps it's emotional strength. Perhaps it's mental clarity. Perhaps it's spiritual encouragement. Perhaps it's peace in the heart. Perhaps it's hope after a series of difficult days. Write in the comments a single word or short phrase describing what you are seeking intercession for this morning. It's not for display. It's for alignment. When you write, you acknowledge it. When you acknowledge it, you take a stand. And when you take a stand, something changes inside you. As you comment, this prayer becomes more than just something you heard. It becomes something you've accepted. Now, with that clear intention in our hearts, we move forward. There is a spiritual truth that is rarely taught clearly. The day doesn't begin when you get out of bed. It begins when you agree with some voice. If you agree with exhaustion, it governs. If you agree with fear, it directs your decisions. If you agree with the rush, it tramples on priorities. But when you declare the truth, the environment adjusts. Father, today I recognize that many of the battles I faced did not begin in the external arena, but in the absence of inner governance. I let my thoughts wander and dictate the pace. I allowed unfiltered emotions to take the wheel, and then I tried to call you to fix the consequences. Today I do things differently. Today I understand that declaring something is not about shouting words into the void. To declare is to establish a conscious spiritual position before chaos takes hold. Your word says that life and death are in the power of the tongue. This means that my words are not comments. They are seeds. They create atmospheres. They shape expectations. They train my heart to see the day through a specific lens. Father, I choose to speak with intention. I choose to declare responsibly. I choose to align my words with your truth. Today, I'm not saying that everything will be easy, but I declare that I will be supported. I am not declaring an absence of challenges, but I declare the Lord's constant presence in each one of them. When your word says that we are more than conquerors, it does not ignore the process. She reveals the final result so that I don't give up halfway through. Today, I declare that this day is under your authority. My decisions will be guided, not impulsive. My responses will be firm, not reactive. My steps will be deliberate, not hurried. Father, watch over my mind throughout this day. When feelings of inadequacy try to creep in, I choose to remember, I am not guided by what I feel, but by what has been established. If fear tries to anticipate scenarios, I don't feed it. If anxiety tries to speed things up, I won't give in. If comparison tries to steal my peace, I'll reposition myself. Today I govern my thoughts before they try to govern me. I apply faith in a practical way. This means I choose to forgive rather than harden my heart. I choose to listen before reacting. I choose to wait before deciding, not because I am weak, but because I am aware of your direction. Father, when your word says that no weapon formed will prosper, it does not say that weapons will not be formed. She states that they will not have final authority. Today I accept this as a practical truth. If there is opposition, I don't despair. If there is a delay, I don't assume it's a failure. If there is silence, I will not abandon the path. I continue to declare that which I do not yet see, but which has already been aligned in the heavens. May my faith not be passive. May it manifest itself in daily choices. Let her control my schedule, my conversations, my priorities. Father, teach me to recognize when I am merely reacting to the day instead of directing it. And when that happens, bring me back to the center. It brings me back to consciousness. Bring me back to the truth. Today, I am not a hostage to what happens. I am a steward of what I receive. I manage this day with wisdom, discernment, and dependence, so that I know when to move forward and when to wait, when to speak and when to remain silent, when to insist and when to trust. I declare that this day will not be wasted, even in the little things, even in the invisible details. Everything will be used to shape, align, and strengthen me. I move on peacefully. I proceed with clarity. I stand firm. And even if the day tries to weigh me down, I remember the strength that sustains me does not come from circumstances. It comes from the Lord who guides my steps. Amen. There is a type of tiredness that doesn't come from an excess of tasks. It comes from consistency without recognition, from the struggle that repeats itself, from the prayer that seems not to be heard, of a loyalty that no one applauds. And that's exactly where many confuse perseverance with weakness. Father, today I place before you not only my words, but also my unanswered questions. How many times have I continued even without feeling an immediate return? How many times have I woken up, done what needed to be done, prayed, followed, and yet I went to sleep with the feeling of always starting over? Today I understand something that I didn't realize before. My strength has not abandoned me. I just started carrying everything myself. Your word says that our inner being is renewed day by day. This means that even when everything looks the same on the outside, something is being rebuilt on the inside. The problem is that the soul, when weary, begins to interpret silence as absence. Dad, how many times have I confused waiting with rejection? How many times have I associated delay with negligence? How many times have I almost given up? Not because of a lack of faith, but because of excess accumulated weight. Today I'm stopping. I breathe. I recognize that. I recognize that continuing is also a spiritual act. I recognize that remaining is a form of prayer. I recognize that getting up every day, even without feeling fully strong, is evidence that it still exists. Therefore, I ask you, not out of doubt, but as a confession, where did I go wrong when I should have declared it again? At what point did I stop speaking with authority and start simply enduring it? Father, bring back to my memory what exhaustion tried to erase. It brings back conviction. It brings back the sense of purpose. It brings back clarity. Your word says, "Wait for the Lord, be of good courage, and he shall strengthen your heart." Waiting is not giving up. To wait is to remain aligned even when the body wants to stop. Today I reject the blame for being tired, but I also reject spiritual complacency. I don't just want to survive the days. I want to experience them with awareness, faith, and presence. Dad, how many people are right here at this spot? They pray, but in silence. They believe, but without expectation. They continue, but without joy. Today, this cycle is being challenged. If you who are listening to me now have ever thought about stopping, not because he stopped believing in God, but because he grew tired of fighting in silence, this moment is for you. You're not late. You didn't miss your turn. You have not been forgotten. You just need to declare it again. To declare it even without emotion. To declare it even without applause. Declare it even when the answer hasn't arrived yet. Because faith that perseveres is not noisy. She is firm. Dad, I choose to continue. Not out of stubbornness, but out of trust. I choose to run the career that has been proposed to me, not looking at the weight, but at the purpose. I choose not to abandon the path just because it demands consistency. And today, with spiritual maturity, I understand it's not about feeling strong every day. It's about not abandoning the source. Father, renew in me the joy of trusting, not euphoria, but the unwavering joy of one who knows in whom they stand. May this block be a meeting point. Here, fatigue is not denied but healed. May perseverance be reaffirmed here, and if this content is speaking to you, if he's playing in a place that few people know about, stay, continue, walk with us. Because what God has begun, he does not abandon midway through the process. Amen. Okay, I come before you after aligning my thoughts, confronting silences, and repositioning my faith. Now, I don't come here as someone who's lost. I come as someone who is aware that the strength that sustains me does not come from my own effort, but from your constant faithfulness. Today, I recognize, if I am standing, it is because I have been supported. If I am still walking, it is because your hand has not let go of me. If I still believe, it is because your grace worked silently within me. Therefore, at this time, I am not asking for what has already been promised. I align myself. I align my mind with your truth. I align my heart with your will. I align my steps with your timing. Your word says that we are strengthened with power in the inner man. This means that even when external factors fluctuate, there is a firm place inside me that does not crumble. Today, I choose to live from this place. Father, strengthen my inner self, not so that I become insensitive, but so that I am not governed by unstable emotions. Strengthen my inner self so that I may know how to wait without complaining, move forward without arrogance, to remain without hardening. Today I declare that everything I will face today, he will not face it alone. If there are challenges, I will face them with wisdom. If there are difficult decisions to make, I will choose with fear and discernment. If I become weary, I will rest in you without abandoning the path. Your word says, "Do not fear, for I am with you." So today, I reject the fear that paralyzes, and I welcome the trust that sustains it. Not confidence in myself, but in a God who does not change with the day. Pi, guard me from extremes. Protect me from self-sufficiency disguised as faith and passivity disguised as humility. Teach me to cooperate with what you are doing. Teach me to perceive your guidance in the details. Teach me to obey even when the path is not entirely clear. Today, I declare that my strength lies not in proving anything, but to remain faithful to what has been entrusted to me. I will not compromise my principles for momentary relief. I don't want to abandon projects just because they are lengthy. Let me not confuse silence with abandonment. Father, consecrate this day before you. Every conversation, every decision, every invisible step. May I be led in peace. May my mind remain guarded. May my heart not be torn between faith and anxiety. And if at some point I feel weak again, as far as I can remember, weakness is not the end. It's an invitation to return to the source. Today I walk, not in a hurry, not distracted, but aligned. I walk with serene authority, with mature faith, with unwavering hope. I'm moving on not because everything is resolved, but because I trust in the one who guides me. I place this day in your hands, and I rest in the certainty that what I cannot control, you govern perfectly. Amen.